I want to thank you, everyone. I'm sitting in for Christy, and I wanted to welcome you to the Mirage Talks that is under the umbrella of the Mirage Institute. Thank you for the Institute, and thank you for the Mirage family that is behind this great initiative that we all benefit from, both in terms of learning opportunities, face-to-face, Zoom, and the party never stops. So that's great. With that, I would like to introduce today's presenter and lecturer, Noa Schechter. And besides being a good friend and also a colleague of mine, because we do some things together, I would like to give you a little bit of a more formal introduction, and I'll go through that. Noa is an author, speaker, and business consultant specializing in the topics of mindset and professional effectiveness. She's certified as a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming, in short NLP, and as a coach from the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching on leadership development. She brings over 20 years of leadership and education experience that she integrates with her consulting and world-class business knowledge. Her focus on the power of communication and connection of people through their power and to each other, creating extraordinarily powerful relationship for professional or personal reasons. I think that we will all enjoy her wisdom and words that she'll share with us. And with that, Noa, I will pass the microphone to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Ari, for presenting me. And Ari, who are you? What is your connection to Mirage?
So thank you. I've been with Mirage since inception of 2005, I think. We have, although all of you guys, I think, know about it, close to 1,000 alum and folks that came and met with us and had a wonderful time. And actually, I had a wonderful time. I hope that everyone else did, meeting all the different folks that come in. And as a result, I myself meet a lot of people from the ecosystem here locally, and I stay in touch with many of you afterwards. So I'm usually the one that provides the session of pitching in front of investors. I do some panels, and I also provide business growth consulting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. So I'm ready to start. So hi, everyone. Let's start. Thank you for being here. I know it's late, unless it's Timothy and he's in LA, so that's a different story. So let me start, because this presentation is about, could be a couple hours that I really condensed it into 45 minutes. I would stay at the end for Q&A. If any of you have a question, I'm more than happy to help and give some advice. If you want, please connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll have my LinkedIn QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn. Encourage each one of you to connect with me. And at the end, guess what? There'll be a gift. Whomever wants a gift, so the one that stays until the end. So who is Noa, and what are we going to do today? So first of all, the one area that sometimes I see that's a little bit lacking in our dealing with companies, investors, team, is to pay attention to your team. I work with a lot of investors, and I work with people that companies looking for investors. But I always say, what happened to your team? How we can increase your team potential? How you increase also your potential working with your pitching to the investors. One thing I'll ask, this is going to be very interactive today, even though it's a small group. Please, please, please. Ari is here for a reason. I asked Ari to be co-host. He's going to, let's use the chat. Any questions you have, because the more questions you have, that's easy for me to target my the presentation toward your needs and not what I think you need, as like if I see what really is your need, because every group is different. So let's continue. Okay, Ari, next one. Okay, what are we going to do today? Okay, so the first thing I would like to identify the challenges for entrepreneurs when communicating with potential investors and team. So if you already have an idea, use the chat. It doesn't have to be yours, could be from someone else, could be yours. Some of the challenges that you're facing, either when you have a team or you're dealing with other people. Then you're going to talk about how to identify the 4 main communication styles, and why is it important to know what is my communication style, what is the communication of my team. I'll bring you a lot of stories. I'm a storyteller. So I have a lot of stories from clients, from other people that I work with, from events that I go. I really like to share some of my own experience with what we're going to do today. And now we are going to talk how to utilize, when I know what is my communication style, when I know what is my team's communication styles also, we'll know how to influence, either if I want to influence the investor, or how do I want working with my team to be more a cohesive team. All right, so let's continue, and I'd like to see the chat for some of the issues that you are dealing these days. So what do? I work international with companies all over the world, actually. And why? Because when you talk about communication is it doesn't matter if I work with someone from Mexico and Argentina, or I work with someone with, actually I have clients in Germany or Israel or America. Yeah, there are some cultural codes that we need to be aware, but the DNA of communicating, we can assess it. And when we assess the communication style of each person, that gives us so much strength, okay? And when we understand it, that's how we can start influencing the people in front of us, or help us to work with them better. I work with entrepreneurs, I work with startups, I do workshop like this, like I mentioned. I have a few other workshops, but conversation with Ari, Mr. Eli, we decided this would be the best talk for today. Strength and weaknesses of individual and as a team, and also increasing leadership within the team or the owner of the company. So let's continue. By the way, you see the scan me? You can scan it and connect with me to my LinkedIn. And don't worry if you didn't do it. There's another one at the end that I add to the slide on the end. As I said, I sit here in Los Angeles, and I work with companies all over the world. Now, what I like to know, some challenges that you are dealing with. So if you don't want to chat, you want to use the mic and just say something, that would be great. Ari, I know you and I talked yesterday, and Ellie, we spoke about some of the challenges. So anyone wants to mention some of the challenges that you are dealing with?
Well, to me, it was kind of, if I may jump in, rather, let's say, a phenomena that I observed that I probably did not grow up observing it, but in the first few years in business, after I finished my education and went to the workforce, let's say, I became a manager of a technical department. And I started to identify, to understand that some of the folks that reported to me, I had to change some of my behavior or way to say things, because some of them were very regards, or kind of like, what should I say, not very communicative. They were brilliant and fantastic technologists. And when I say technology in my world, back then it was software. But when it came to human interaction, it was somewhat kind of like very difficult for me as a manager to even understand if there's anything on their challenges list or something preventing them from providing results. What's on their mind? They weren't like coming home and say, coming to the office, say, I had a rough night, I couldn't sleep, so now today I'm going to be a little bit sleepy, or anything like that. It was just kind of a guessing game, which reminded me later on, years after, with my teenagers, that taught me that, it's like same thing. They come home, how was school? Good.
Yeah.
That one word. Anyways.
Thank you, Ari. That's exactly what I mean. When you're working with your teams, sometimes what are they telling me? Is it really the problem? Is it the root cause of the problem? Or what are they not telling me? or when I say something, especially if you have a diversity of team members, like, or you're working with other team members all over the world, the question is like, what they're not telling me. Or when I communicate with them, when I say something, what do I say and what they understand? So often it's two different things. So, all right, thank you for sharing it. Any other challenges?
Ellie put something on the chat.
Yeah.
You want to say it out loud, Ellie? Or if not, I can.
You can read it. Why don't you?
He was referring to communication with investors. Most of the time, the investor VC is not an area expert in the technology, and managing expectation is a challenge. Do you have an advice on managing the communication with the VC that will show the technology/product potential while keeping realistic expectations?
Mm-hmm. Actually, yes, I do. And if I forget to answer that, please remind me. This is very important because every time I do this talk, people ask me the same question. And yes, I have a wonderful answer for you. Great. Let's continue. Thank you for the one that shared, and use the chat if you want to ask more questions. Let's go for the next one. Okay, let's begin. What is your communication style and why do I care? Why is it important to understand what is the communication style of myself and others? Okay, one thing that I notice, and I see this common mistakes a lot, if I have a certain way of communicating, the people that I hire or I connected with are people like me. And then if I have a team, usually I'd like to have people like me on my team, but then if I have someone that is totally the opposite from me, that's quite often create a friction, conflicts in the company, and it's not healthy. So why do I care? Because when you care, you're starting to understand, I hope by the end of this talk, to understand why it's okay that on my team, there's people that think totally different with me, don't agree with me, but why it could be very valuable. Okay, but in order to understand others, it's very important to understand yourself. So the first thing I like to do when I speak about the 4 personality types, I want you to start paying attention and identify yourself. Who are you? What is your personality type? How do you communicate? But then in order to remember it, try to find people in your life that have that style. And this way you remember. What does it mean? Yesterday, I'll give an example. Ari and I were talking and I say, oh, Ari, okay, got it. You're a high S. And I start telling Ari, I shared with Ari, how do I know that Ari is a high S? And because I identify it. Now, Ari is not the only one. For personality type, it means 25% of population is maybe high S. So recognizing it will help you to communicate with them better, but also to understand how this kind of personality will help you or your company or your team to be better, okay? To be more efficient. So let's continue. So what are the 4 communication style? And here they are. This is the next slide. Okay. And any of you may have seen it before. I like to use the colors. These are the colors that we use. We use a concept that is coming from the disc. I didn't invent it. This is like 40 years in the market. I'm using that concept. So the first one, you see the D stands for dominant. So every time you see D is the red. We have the I, the influencer, S for steadiness, C for compliance, and don't worry because I will explain it more in the next few slides. But one thing that is important, and I always hear it, clients come and say, oh, I failed the test. I say, why did you fail the test? Because first of all, it's not a test, it's an assessment to understand yourself. They say, I'm a high D, but I have no C. I said, that's great. What I'm trying to say, there is no right and wrong. There's no one that is all 4 of them or all 2 of them 100%. This is beautiful. This is the beauty of it. This is like the DNA of communication and leadership style, okay? So this is only universal language to assess and understand human behavior, okay? This is also for us to understand when they make a decision, when they behave or when they do something, why did they do things in a certain way? And I know it's not clear now, but I will explain it in the next few slides. So let's continue. So using that concept, actually, I can teach you how to fly in business class and pay for premium. Who wants to know? Who wants to know? Flying business class, right? And pay for premium. And it happens, and I show you how. That's toward the end. So let's start. Okay, next slide. So I'm saying it again, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no wrong. We only identifying this style to make you and your team very powerful, also helping you standing in front of potential investors. Guys, so what I'm saying here is like I'm wearing two hats here. This is to help you if you have a team. This is also to help you when you're standing instead of potential investors, okay? That's next. So let's talk a little bit about communication and communication style, okay? You probably have seen it, most of you. And this is a slide that I always like to bring to presentation-wise, because when working with teams, I notice, especially when people create presentation, work on the presentation, whether if it's a slide presentation or speaking in front of investor, they always focus on the words, okay? The problem with words, it's only 7% of communication. And we forget that it's also tonality and physiology, okay? So please, it's great that you put 7%, you pay attention to the words, but don't forget there's not just that, and why words are important. I notice as an Israelis, we have quite often the tendency to be more commanding, must, have to, need to, okay? Pay attention when you maybe work with Israeli to Israeli, that may work, okay? Maybe, because sometimes some Israelis doesn't like it. But when you work with people in the other side of the world, you use must, have to, need to, that's triggers for them. That's a triggers, and guess what? The tonality, you see the tonality is 38%. This is a tonality of the email and the text. So it's not just the tonality, the way we sound, it's also the way they read it. And here is something I want to bring back to your attention. When you send an email and the email is demanding, people will read it. Maybe you meant to say it nicely. Hey, this must be done next week. Can you do it? But I may read it like, this must be done. Can you do it? You understand? So we all read the emails, the text, the way we translate it, not the way you said it or mean to write it or say it. So that's why it's so important, okay? Pay attention to the language of your words. This is number one. Definitely, when you talk, it's so important to pay attention to the tonality, because I've seen it. People stand in front of potential investors and the voice is not convincing. If I'll talk to you right now and I say, well, 38% is the tonality, and it's like a question mark. Now, would you trust me? No. But if I said 38%, okay, is tonality, and I feel that I strongly believe in it, you're going to believe it, or maybe not. Maybe some of you will go and check it on the internet. By the way, 7% of words, yes, but it may be 10%, it may be 12%, maybe 15%. The whole idea here that don't emphasize on the words and only, because afterwards there's a tonality and the physiology. Guys, 55% of the physiology. So when people practice their presentation, the one thing I said is like, stand up and talk to me, because I want to see the physiology. Don't just, and the presentation can be perfect. But if you are not, you don't sound like you really believe in what you say, and your physiology said like, okay, I'll show you from there. If your physiology is like, oh, I'm close, I'm looking down, I'm not comfortable, no one will believe you, because the message that you're giving is like, I don't trust my own product. Now, the message could be, I don't trust my own product, because you know that there's a challenge there. You know that there's an obstacle there, okay? And you're honest. But the VC or the investor doesn't know it, and they don't care, okay? So pay attention. words, tonality, physiology. The one thing you can do, and this is like a tip for you, when you do a presentation, do a mock trial. Ask people to stand in front of you. Ask a friend to stand in front of you and say, hey, don't be nice to me. I do it. When I do a new talk, I have a friend that he likes to pick up on everything from what I say, how do I say, from the slide. I'll call him. His name is Asher. Say, hey, Asher, don't be nice to me. Tell me honestly. I want to know everything from A to Z, and I know he will. So ask people and don't take it personally. Just say, hey, tell me everything, and then how you can improve. Is that okay? Any question about how do we communicate? Okay, something else. And if you have questions, please use the chat. And Ari, if there's a question on the chat, just let me know. Something else I want to bring to your attention. I know that in the last few years, we transitioned to Zoom, okay? The problem with Zoom takes a lot of our communication away. Why? First of all, okay, like some of you probably listening to me and looking at the cell phone, maybe looking at other computer, doing some other stuff. That's what happened with Zoom. And there is no multitasking, guys. Yes, there is in a way that, yeah, I can watch the dishes and I can maybe talk to my friend on the phone. But if I have to do something that is very, very important, I have to do it one thing at a time, okay? So first of all, Zoom took away our focus in a way, but then also the body language, it takes away a lot of the communication style. Like if 55 physiology, yeah, that's when we stand in front of people. But now, no. So what people see and hear right now, so right now in Zoom, it's more about the tonality. People pay attention to the tonality, facial expression only, okay? Also, you don't see the eyes the way you can see it when people stand in front of you. You cannot feel the handshaking, the confidence. So pay the tonality. I didn't see any research about it yet, but during Zoom, pay attention. The tonality, I think, is switch. I think the tonality should be 55, and the physiology is lower to 38. So just be aware of it when you are doing Zoom communication. Something else, there's nothing like meeting one-on-one. If you have an opportunity, and this is an important, I have a client right now, he's flying to Germany, just because for 1 hour meeting with the head of the train station in Berlin, right? 1 hour. But, and they could have done it in Zoom. And it's like, no. You're going to fly to Germany. You're going to do it face to face because there's nothing like this kind of communication. All right, let's continue. So let's start identifying your style and understand where do you fit in. So every style you'll see, there is plus, okay? There is plus, but there's also, I'm strong, but there's also what is my limitation. There's no perfect. We all agree with that, right? So let's start with the first one, Ari. The first one is high D. You see the color red, okay? A lot of colors. The red stands for what? People that are red, you see them, they're going to be great CEOs of a company. What's their strength? Problem solver. Okay, there's a problem. Let's solve it right away. They're very initiative. They like to take charge. Very aggressive, quite often direct. They like to tell you things as is. They know how to work when things are urgent. They can say, let's stop with this. Let's continue with this project. They can work, the puzzle. They know how to work the puzzle. Also, when you do how to recognize a D, for example, they can walk into the room, and they'll tell you, be brief and be fast, okay? A D walk into a networking event, he will work faster, he will work around the room, give everyone his business card. If he gets bored, he's gone, okay? No, I'm done, bye. I got what I need. Why is it important? It's important because when you do presentation to VC or potential investor or anyone, and you see that this is a high D, I would suggest you have to capture his attention from the beginning. Why? If you lose him, he's gone. Because if you start being too technical, it happens to be for one of my clients. He's an engineer, right? Too technical. People called me after saying, no, what he was trying to tell us. And then we realized that I said, okay, let's change the slide. And I had to coach it a little bit to be, this is not working. You have to change the way you present your a product to other people. They don't get it, okay? And Ellie, I will answer your question because this is a good question that is related to that. The competitive, okay? You speak to a D, they like competition. So if you use something like, yeah, so-and-so wanted, but we are better, okay? They like to hear it because you want to use the words that high D will identify, okay? But there's also limitation. Let's look at the limitation for the high D. Okay, sometimes, okay, could have been seen, exactly, I'm not saying they're arrogant, but people may translate them to, oh my God, this guy is so arrogant, so full of himself. He gets into the room, he leaves, what does he think about himself? Because he's short, okay, doesn't have time, he's a juggler. I want you to start seeing the D as a juggler, okay? He juggles so many things and he's fast. He's impatient. He can be critical because he does so much. So he may say, you know what, don't have time. This is not for me. Or he'll tell you the truth. What does he think about your project? And if you're emotionally connected to your project, you'll be like, oh my God, why is he telling me that? Nothing personal. He is not personal. D, I've seen it a lot. CEOs that are Ds or people that are salespeople that are D. They don't have D. They have a D, I'm sorry. They don't have follow-through system, okay? Quite often the Ds don't have a system for the follow-through. That's why if you know, if any of you here know I'm a D, I'm a high D, you're just describing me, and you don't have like a system in you, that means the S, and I'll talk about the S in a few minutes. That means you need to have a team that will help you, will complete the high D, okay? CEO as a D, this is great because he's moving forward and he's moving forward fast. Let's continue. Next one is the I. I stands for influencer. Now, something about the I that I want to bring to your attention, okay? High and D are fast-paced people, okay? High and D, I'm saying again, are usually fast-paced. You recognize them. The I walks into the room. He loves people. He's charming. He's ongoing. You can tell to the I, hey, that meeting was great. Can we go for dinner after on lunch? The I will say, sure, why not? The I may tell you, he's the kumbaya. Hey, let's all of us do this. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, the clients, okay, they never had any event at the office. Like I'm talking 120 employees, they never had an event. Everything is like by the book. And then he has office manager with high I. Guess what? Now they have birthday parties in acknowledgement. They're going to do more acknowledgement for the holidays. She decorated the room already. Today is Halloween, so it's all ready for Halloween. And she brought it, and she makes sure everyone will feel good and comfortable. Why? Because she's a high I. Okay, so she brings it with her to the team. The thing with high I, they need to feel popular. They need to feel part of the team. I'll give you an example. Few people go to lunch. The I cannot go, but they knew it. She doesn't know they know it. They didn't invite her, right? She'll be like, why I'm not invited? Even though she couldn't go to lunch. She'll be like, why they're all going and I'm not invited? So pay attention. If you're an I, or you have a team member that is an I, they need to feel that they are included. Because the I likes to trust everyone and everybody. They're very positive. They may be funny at times. They're inspiring, they can do good on sales, they can be good on the phone. Here is a good example. One of the companies, Ari and I actually talked to a group of doctors last weekend, and there was a group of few doctors, and they say, we don't have the office manager is problematic for us because people keep quitting. I said, well, she probably doesn't have an eye, and she's probably doesn't do such a good job on the phone, because if you need a secretary that's going to talk to potential clients or customer, you make sure that she has at least eye in her, means she's going to sound friendly, and she loves to speak to people. She loves to be on the phone. Otherwise, she can be very efficient, but she won't be the right person to be on the phone for you and your team. Let's continue. But the eye, of course, like everyone else, has limitation. Okay, what are the limitations for the eyes? Emotional, okay? And if it's a woman eye, emotional times 2, okay? They talk too much. They listen, but they may cut you when you speak. They're like, no, and let me tell you, but you need to understand when they are talking that way, it's not because they want to cut you while you're speaking, it's because they care. Okay, remember, the I care. Okay, sometimes they're not realistic because they want, and I have some clients that are high I, and they want to be nice to everyone, they want to satisfy everyone, and they'll go with one group and they'll do, and the boss asks them to do so much, they don't know how to say no. By the way, it's great to have a team member in your team that has high I. Most of the time, they don't like to disappoint you, and they'll keep do things for you. But remember, you need to acknowledge it. High I needs compliments. They need acknowledgement. If you don't do it, they're going to shut down. I also like to tell everyone that they are great, because if they don't tell them, they'll say it. Oh, I'm so great. Oh, I did this project. Oh, I helped my boss. Oh, I helped so-and-so. Oh, here's something I did. They like, but you may see it as bragging, but that's an energy for them. By the way, I'm a high I. So people always say to me, oh, you're talking too much. That's why I'm a speaker, because for me to come to the room and speak to everyone, it's like, yay. So you see, it's not negative. It's actually positive. But put me in front of engineers, they're going to suffer if I have to spend too much time with them. All right. I have a story about that as well. All right. Next one. So the S, okay. The S are the steadiness. Remember, S, green, relaxing. That's how I want you to see it. These are the relaxing people. They are very steady. If you hire an S personality, that means they're going to stay with you for a long time. They don't quit, okay? They stay until the boat is sinking, okay? That's the S personality. It's great to have an S person on your team. Why? Because they're a good listener. They care about the team, okay? They care about system. Remember, S, system, stability, steadiness. Usually they're relaxed unless you have an S personality combined with the D. So it's situational. Sometimes you see the S, sometimes you see the D. D dominant, I'm reminding you. The S, most of the time, they're all about system. Project managers are great as an S. Why? That's how they live. They think system. Now, here's the deal. Sometimes people confuse the S with the I, okay? Why? Because the S cares about people. They care about the team. But here's the deal. When it's time to be done, like they'll do the job, okay? Here's the difference between S and I. S will take care of the team. If there's happy hour, they'll go to the happy hour and done. Goodbye, team. I'm going home. I have a wife, kids, or I have work to do, whatever. And I, which is me, and say, hey guys, let's continue to dinner. Sounds like, hey, sounds like fun. I'm going, okay? S will go home because he already knows, okay? The day is very predictable for them. S people are very predictable. So that's a good example. Ari and I were talking the other day, and I actually died by mistake. He called me back, but he didn't call me back. He sent me a long text, Noah. by 7:30, this is the time that I'm usually, let's say, dinner, I read a book, unless I know it's emergency, unless we stay, you know, he explained to me his routine. Okay, why? And if I would text Ari, this is important, he will answer. Okay. But you see, me, for the eyes, it's like, oh, Ari's calling. Hey, Ari, what's up? You know what I mean? It's different. The S, you need to understand, and I'll have a good example for you. I was for a client in Pittsburgh, and I had a guy there that he was definitely high S engineer from another company that our company was trying to collaborate with them. They're all engineers, okay? They have a couple hundred engineers. So he represented them sitting in the booth, and because he was smiling and nice and he did everything and friendly, everyone thought he's an I. Even the owner of the company, the CEO of the company, were sure that he's an I personality. Oh, he's so cool. So when I asked the S person, we call him S, when I asked S, hey S, I need to do something, I need to do a blog for LinkedIn, I need to put picture for LinkedIn, we are here at the show, it was a trade show for engineer. He said, Noah, I can't. And I said, why? He said, well, I'm disappointed at the company. And I said, why do you, I didn't take it negative. I said, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. He shared with me exactly one-to-one what is the problem. Immediately, I called the company in Israel, my client, I said, hey, this is what S told me. What do you think, how we can fix it? What can we do right now? I found out that there was communication issues there. The team here was waiting for the team from Israel. The team from Israel waited for the answer from the team here to start training, took care of it. And now S was be nice to me the next day. He was very nice and was smiling. We are taking pictures. The thing is, everyone thought, oh, he's so cool, no, don't worry. But when he told me what he said, I realized, no, guys, you don't read the map right. He's totally different from what you think, okay? The next day, the first day when we were at the trade show, he suffered. He said, no, it's hard for me. I have a team of 30 engineers and it's very difficult for me here. And I don't like shows and I don't like people. That means he's an S and C. I said, okay, let me help you. So we walked around the show. I started making it more fun and about people but the second day, it took him 24 hours to adjust and he was much better, okay? So that's why it's important to understand who is in front of you. Let's continue. Now the limitation, remember I said the D and the I, fast. Now the S, slow down, okay? Slow down and slow down much more. Why? S don't like change so much. In order to change, they need to understand the whole system in order to create a change. The S people usually speak much slower. Okay, here's a good example. When Arya and I speak, Arya much slower, I'm much faster. Okay, because I don't think much. S needs to think. My thinking is much faster. S needs to think before they say something, they want to make sure this is the right way to say it. S people, when they're on your team, one thing at a time. You tell an S person to do so many things at the same time, like the D, the CEO, let's say, or the D say, we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a mess for them. They need to see the system step by step. S people sometimes, because they're an S, they may be stressed, they don't share with you their stress, but you see it. S people maybe, if they quit on you, that means quite often I see it. They'll quit because they took the stress inside and the CEO will say, what happened? I thought everything was good. You never said anything. He never said anything because nobody asked him, because they don't like to say what really goes inside for them. Sometimes they think that they are cold. They're not cold, they're focused. Okay, they're focused on the mission, on the goal. And S do not like surprise. If an S person knows I'm working into this meeting, okay, or he's let's say an investor, same way, he walks in, you tell the S, we have 7 minutes today to speak, do not dare to go for 7.5 or 8, okay, because S knows 7 minutes is 7 minutes. Don't try to steal time from them because you just robbed his time, because that means he has the next thing. And in that moment, he'll be against you. That's not good. Let's continue. Okay, so that's the S. And last but not least, now we're going into the C people. Okay, strengths of the Cs. Very accurate. The biggest fear for a C personality is to make mistakes. So if you know that you're not a C personality, okay, when you have a C person, they're good as like CFO, accountant, secretaries, personal assistant, people that deals with numbers, engineers that they need to produce, like say they work on an app or they need to produce something for you. The C, if they are true C, they'll continue to check the fact because they're all about five funders. So here's important. You have an investor in front of you, okay? And the investor keep asking a question, detailed person, about the numbers. Where is the problem? And he'll try to find problems in your project. Doesn't mean he's against you. That's how he operates. The C people always find mistakes. They'll come to the meeting and say what is not going to work. It's not because they think it's not going to work, because your role is to convince them, yes, it will. But it comes from a place that I'm afraid to make mistakes. That's all. I have a client that is a high C, and he worked for a company that was D and S, okay? The owner of the company, fast, also system. And he would walk in, he was a project manager. He had so many issues with the team because he always tried to find the problems. They didn't understand that he's doing it to protect the team. He's doing it to protect the CEO of the company. He sees it as his mission and his role to help them, because he said, no, if I said it's okay, I need to feel 110% it's okay. If I prove something, I need to feel. And that guy, for months, he wasn't sleeping. When they will launch a product, I know, because when we work together, sometimes I say, you got to go to sleep. You got to stop, okay? He couldn't do it. So this is something, pay attention who's in front of you, okay? Whether it's your team member or whether it's your an investor that you work with. But you know, they have high standards, okay? Yes, Ellie, you asked me, do you see people with personalities that combine two or more? Yes, there's not only high S, high C, high I. I can tell you, my personality, for example, is a high I. My I is at like 95%. D is about 65 to 70%. So that's why, but I lead with I, means I have to connect with people. That's my leader, okay? That's my strengths. The D is that after I connect with people, now I have to make decisions. So then I run with the D. S and C for me, I checked it, embarrassing, is like minimized, really minimized. I don't tell me what to do. I hate when people tell me what to do and say, you have to. When you tell me you have to, I resist it, okay? However, because I know S and C is not my strengths, guess what? I have a team now that I work with, for example, in Argentina. Like if I need the slides, here's a good example. I have to hire someone from Argentina, and I have a group of marketers. They help me with the slide, because if I need to do it, it will take me forever and I'll make so many mistakes. But when I work, that team helped me. So I know what's my strengths. I know my weaknesses, walking into a room, speaking to people, helping with team and helping with communication. I have books that I wrote about communication. I have books about writing. I wrote about networking. That's my strengths. But to finish the book, I had to hire someone that helped me with editing the book, because I don't care about the little details. And I don't know, I'm not good at that. So I have to hire people that completing me, okay? So there's no one. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't mean I cannot function like sometimes as a C or as an S. Yes. Is that my strengths? No. So that's why there's something called natural behavior and adapted behavior. Okay. And by the way, this is not, if you are S and C today, and doesn't mean we cannot increase your D. Like one of the companies I work with, here's a good example. The owner of the company, high C, can you believe, CEO with over 120 employees, 150, I think, high C, no D at all, and no I. Here's the problem, okay? because there's no I, I'll give you an example. One of his, the CFO had a birthday party. I think it would turn 60. I called the CEO. The CEO was in Europe when it was the CFO birthday party. And I said, he came back. I said, you know, it was his birthday. Yes. Did you acknowledge it? No. Why? It was his birthday. Well, I'm mad at him because he was supposed to send an email to so-and-so and he forgot. I said, well, wait a minute. I didn't ask you to write him an email. You're doing an amazing job. He didn't. But that's his birthday. So I had to spend 15 minutes explaining to the CEO why it's important to acknowledge someone's birthday, especially in that position, okay? Because he doesn't have an eye. And I see it over and over again. That's why his personal assistant, I make sure when we hire them, when I did the assessment, she has an I, she has an S. So at times when we work together, we make sure that she'll bring it into the company. Before we came as a consultant to the company, he had closed door. The employees were afraid of him to say something. They were afraid of him, even though he's very nice. And as a high C, all he does, he operates the company from checking every email, every person, and doesn't let the team grow. So, but now in the last few years, we were able to increase his I, and we're able to increase his D. But that takes time. It's not something that happened to you all of a sudden. Okay, so Ellie, I hope it's answered. And if you have more questions, please write it. Share it with us on the chat. I'm more than happy to answer. So let's see the compliance, okay? Remember, you see the color blue, okay? Remember, blue is cold, okay? So I repeat it again. Red, I, passionate people. I, yellow, like the sun. Green, tranquilo, relaxed. C are very cold, okay? So what are the limitations? Like I showed about my client. Skeptical, critical. The C people, they don't sleep good at night, okay? And if you have a C person or you recognize them, pay attention. They don't sleep at night because they're like, is it right? Is it perfect? Because perfect is not enough for them. Okay, remember that perfect is not enough for C, because even when it's perfect, they're afraid maybe some mistake will happen. They have to have procedures. If one of my clients is funny, if I have to send him I said something, let's say I say, hey, remember to do one thing, or a sentence or a word, you know what he's going to tell me? No, can you text me? Can you send me an email? That's the compliance. I was like, come on, I'm talking to you. It's a one word. It's like, no, send me an email, because I know myself, because he has a system. At night, he goes through all of his emails and he checked them one by one. So that moment he was focused. Remember I said the C can be focused also on one thing. He's an S and C because he can be focused on one thing. That moment I said it doesn't register. He needs to go back to it when he has the time and he'll check it. And I know at night or in the morning, I'll get the answer. Okay. They see like an S, they don't like to verbalize their feeling. And remember I said, the micromanagers, if you have a leader at the team, okay, that he has, let's say he's a project manager, but he runs the team as a C, because that's his strengths, micromanaging everything, pay attention. That won't work for the team. So part of what we do is that the right person in the right position? Now, if you don't want to fire them, sometimes moving them to a different department that needs people with these strengths, you may want to move him. But if not, the other way around it is to work with the person, because they don't do it intentionally. They just don't know it's wrong. So put someone with a C and a D. It's a conflict. Okay, if you are high C person, but you also have a high D person on the team, you pay attention. I had times when I work with teams that they used to cry, come from the meeting crying. Why? The D would say, we have to do this, what's the big deal? The C would freak out. They said, oh my God, so many things. How can I do it? This is too much. Are you driving me crazy? We're gonna launch it and the client's going to complain and we make this thing. And they always think dark, dark, dark. Pay attention. It's not because they wanna be like that. That's their talent, because when you have a C person, they got your back. They make sure that everything is perfect. Very rare they make mistakes. All right, let's continue. Any questions now about the 4 types of personalities? Any question? And what I want to see on the chat. I said, I'm an I. Ari already said, I shared with you his secret. He is an S. We spoke about it yesterday. I know I'm an I and D. Ari is S and D. Why D? Because of the opportunities. So here's the beauty. Ari and I, we actually met 2 months ago, I believe, through a common friend for networking. And we get along very well because I'm not an S, Ari an S. He's good with project management. But we meet at the D because both of us has a D, strong D in us. So that's why we get along very well. But then I know I'm the I. I'll go, I'll speak, I'll meet people. Hey, Ari, there's an event, come. I'll grab Ari and say, there's an event, there's a networking event. I want to introduce you to people. That's the I in me. Ari will help me to create system, and he works with the team that I bring to the table. So I like to see any of you. Let me just get Danny, do you recognize yourself? Do you know if you just put it on the chat or you can speak? What do you think?
I am mostly D and I, more D than I, but it's because I'm coming from the army after 30 years of commanding, so that's my style.
All right, Danny, thank you. Timothy, you're in Los Angeles. So what do you think?
I'm probably D and S.
D and S, nice.
Yeah.
So you're like Ari. Deborah?
I'm definitely high I, and then I have D and S, I suppose.
Yeah, you don't have only 2, you can have 3, but there's one that is dominant, that is leading you.
I started with I. No question that I start with I.
And then do we have, the rest. Ellie, what about you?
Yeah, I would have to go with an I as well.
Ooh la la, Ellie. That means when you are going to lunch, both of us, that means it's going to be a very long lunch, right? Patrick, I see Patrick here. Patrick? Patrick, we can't hear you, or you can use the chat, whatever is easier for you. We can't hear Patrick. Okay. Patrick? No. All right, so let's continue. So you identify yourself, but what I suggest now, try to think about someone in your life that is different. For example, for me, when I walk into a room that I don't know the people and I start talking to them, I did it during Sukkot. I walked into someone's party and I looked at her, I say, hey, who are you? What do you do? In like 1 minute, she said, what does she do? And I said, oh my God. Oh, so that's how you are. That's how you operate. And she said, are you a psychic? I said, no, because I knew she's a high I. Because all I said, oh my God, she's a salesperson for, she sells ads for a local newspaper. I said, you know what? When you walk into the room, I better hide my pockets because you're going to take the credit card out of my pocket without of me paying attention. She said, how do you know I am like that? Because I got the personality. Okay, so that's the beauty of it. So what I want you to think, if you know, in order to remember it, that's a very valuable tool to use in your life. So in order to remember it, think about someone in your life that is I, that is D. For me, what is easy, I mean, I don't like to speak politics, but I'll give you 2 politicians that are D. No, it's no right and wrong, just pay attention, like Donald Trump, high D. In and out, he cut, no emotion, no feelings. Donald Trump, if you ask me, there's no I in his personality. Okay, if you remember him, not as a politician, as an apprentice. Okay, cut, and be rude too. That's the typical D for me. Okay, oh, by the way, another high D. I want to see if you know why. Another high D is actually Ben Gurion. Why Ben Gurion was a high D? Anyone can guess?
You wouldn't take no for an answer.
Very good. Who said it? Timothy. Very
Yes.
good. It's true. Here's a true story I like to say when I do workshop. when Ben-Gurion, first of all, he had a vision, right? The D has a vision, and he wasn't afraid of the big dreams, and he was talking about blooming the desert. So he looked at his advisors and he said, okay, I want to bloom the desert. I want Israel. I mean, I want that people, Jewish from all over the world, come, bloom the desert, sit in the desert, whatever, and we'll braid a green desert. His consultants, guess what they said? They said, no, it's a desert. We can't. You know what Ben-Gurion did?
He moved to the desert.
Well, now one, and he fired them. He said because they didn't buy into his vision, he fired them all and got a group of people and engineers and people that believe in his vision. And look, in Israel today, he was right. I know that in LA, if you're looking in LA, if we're talking about water recycling, I think California or Los Angeles, I think recycled only 20% of the water, maybe. That was a few years ago. It was 15%. Maybe it's more now. Israel is more than 90%. Where did it start? Okay? It's all started with a vision. So that's why I tell you this story. So you start identifying the people. The I, Mother Teresa, right? She was all about people. That's an I. A C, I'm trying to think, whom do I know as a C? I say Arya. Remember Arya because you all know him. As an S, right? And C, personality, I would say someone that is like, think about the secretary style, okay? Or the engineer to check everything one by one by one. Okay, so here's a question for you. Ari, I thought about it before. See the I thought about something before the call, and I said, oh, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna tell you 4 countries. I'm gonna mention 4 countries right now. What I like you to do is to say which country is gonna be countries like a D dominant, which country is like more like an I, which country is more like an S, and which one is a C. Ready for that? Okay, Arya, you're gonna put the 4 countries on the chat, and I wanna see which one is I, D, like the D, I, S, C. So the first country, for example, I'm gonna say United States, okay? The second country is gonna be, Ari, don't give them the answer. Just say, oh, the Timothy, I'm sorry. Ari, just
I don't.
I know, I jump on you, the high I speak, you see? I talk before I think. Here's the 4 countries, United States, Germany, Mexico, and Israel. Just put all of them, United States, Germany, Mexico, and Israel, okay? Just put 4 these countries in the chat. Okay, and then I'm gonna go one by one. Okay, United States, Germany, Israel. So
Germany is C, of course.
wait a minute. So USA, what do you think about the USA?
Maybe I.
Maybe I. What do you think about Germany?
C.
What do you think about Mexico?
I don't know.
Anyone else? Come on. What do you think? I didn't say right or wrong.
I say S for Germany, not C.
Okay, and what do you think about Israel?
Wow.
I.
D.
Somewhere between D and I.
D. Israel is D.
Okay, so Israel, definitely D. Why? The army, the lifestyle, everything is fast, fast, fast. Don't tell me what to do, right? Moving. I don't say that we have an I and S, you know, all the rest. But if you're looking as a country as a whole, right? Israel as a country is startup nation, is moving fast. There's no time, and it's all about solutions. The D is all about solution and fast. And we learn it from the army. You go to the army, it doesn't matter what's the problem, we'll find a solution, right? That's Israel. Mexico, come on, guys. Mexico is an I. The Mexican, you see them drinking, having a good time, kumbaya. I have a lot of friends from Mexico. It's so much fun. First we having fun, then we work. I have friends in Argentina, right? So even writing these slides, I called what's her name, Noelia, and I say, hey, Noelia, there's a problem with this slide. They said, no, it's the weekend. We're having a good time. I said, Noelia, my presentation is on Monday. I need it, you know? And she said, but listen, in this country, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we don't work. Okay, so this is an I mentality, all right? And now look, how's the economy in Argentina? How's the economy in Mexico? Now you start to understand why, right? Okay, and United States, as someone that lives here, and Timothy, you may agree with me, in America, everything is by the system. America, everything has to have a system. And the system has to have a system to understand the system. It's everything in system. And that's why things in America takes forever, okay? Because there's a system within system, within system, within system, okay? And there, Germany, definitely C, and I thought the C, and I could be wrong, guys, but why C? On overall, here's a good example. One of my clients, I told you, the meeting in Germany that happens tomorrow, actually, they scheduled that 3 months or 4 months in advance. 4 months in advance. Oh, this is the summer, we're on vacation, then there's this, that, 4 months, tomorrow's the meeting. My engineer, okay, my client, reached out to me a few days ago and I was like, oh, Noah, engineer, it's the election day. Can you tell them to move it? And I was like, are you kidding me? We waited 4 months for this? No, you're going to show up, okay? Because, and that's the beauty. I could have been upset, but because I understand people's personality, I'll just laugh and I help them to understand what is going on. So this is it. One more thing, Arya, can we move forward? We're almost at the top of the hour, but I promise you a story. And the story is like how to fly business card and pay for premium. And why is it important? So it's true. I was in Israel a few months ago. I'm going through the airport. And, you know, this summer was brutal coming back to the state because we couldn't fly almost for 2 years. So everyone wanted to come to Israel over the summer. Just so you know, a ticket in coach last minute was over $3,000. And every flight was packed to the point that they had to take people from business class, put them on coach because they paid low price for business, or people couldn't make it to their flight. It was a nightmare. So I'm in Israel, finished my vacation, coming back to the state. I had 2 suitcases. I was premium, but I bought like 10 books in Shavua Seper. I couldn't resist it. And I knew my suitcase is extremely heavy. What do I do? And I see, you know, that the counters, one counter is fast, 83, 83, 83. All of them, people get stuck 5 to 10 minutes. She's like so efficient. And now I say, oh my God, she's too fast. She doesn't care. I just hope not to be there because I know I'm going to pay for my suitcase. So the extra weight. So I'm already holding I'm holding the credit card in my hand. I say, I know, that's it. I'm walking in, but I had to give her a compliment. I said, wow, she's so efficient. Cold face, guys. No smile. Her makeup was perfect. She was dressed perfect, but no smile because I noticed that she was so focused on her job. And I said, okay, God, how can I make her not letting me pay for the suitcase? I tried my luck. And I said, but I was honest. I said, look, you're so efficient. Everyone else here is still 5 to 10 to 15 minutes on the same counter. And all I hear is your number, 83, 83, 83. So you're doing a great job. Okay, that's it. Finished. I didn't say anything else. She asked me the regular question. And of course, the first light suitcase went by, then the heavy suitcase, and she looked at me and said, whoa, that's heavy. I said, I know, couldn't resist Shavua Sefer. Okay, I had to bring 10 books. That's me. So she smiled. And then she said, you know what? I don't see, I don't hear. I was like, yay. And she said, I'll upgrade your ticket. And I said, okay, thank you. Not understanding what's going on. Walk to the gate. And at the gate, I say, Miss Noa Schechter, yes, you're sitting in business. And I was shocked. Guys, I didn't ask. Business class was packed. Price for business class was maybe $8,000. I didn't ask, okay? And I said, oh my God, what did I do today that got me that? I know, I acknowledge her strengths. And because she was cold-faced, I'm sure sometimes she gets into problem because she's all about procedures. People like her, and remember, compliments always help. So if you meet people where they at, I'm not saying I'd love to fly business class all the time, believe me. But when I go to restaurants, if I get who's in front of me, I compliment them, I connect with them, where they at. If it's a high D, I say something, high I, high S, I see. I always say something to that person, and it's always real and authentic. I cannot tell you how many times I get extra in restaurants, when I go places, or people say, no, it's not gonna work. I say, okay, and okay, that's a whole different workshop, but I don't give up easily. And I always find to connect with people. And here's another trick. Sometimes, you know, when you talk to the phone to this telemarketer, when you need, I don't know, something happened on my phone, they overcharge me, I don't want them to charge me. When the way I speak to them, my friend tried something and she said, it would never work. I remember they overcharged me because I was in Israel and there was a lot of call on my cell phone. They charged me $200-300. I used the phone, asked for the supervisor, didn't work, called the next day, they were nicer, and they dropped it for me. The reason I'm saying, identify who is in front of you, use that language, acknowledge it, and then you'll get way more, okay, than what you're getting right now. Now, let's go and let's move forward, Arya. The idea is, I'm gonna skip this one because we're running out of time. Okay, let's go to the end. The idea is whether you have a team. No, we'll go to the one before, Arya. No, before. Yeah. The idea is, if you know how to identify these 4 main communication style, whether it's an investor, whether it is your team, start using these skills. Now, we said, I'm reminding you, dominance is the fire. People make decisions first. Influence, now you understand the color better. Influencer is the people that love people. Steadiness is the people that all about system. Compliance are the people that like to overcheck and make sure that whatever you do, they're like the secretary that is never happened because they want to make sure everything is perfect. And now let's go to the slide before last, Ari. Okay, next one. So here's to put everything together for you. First of all, first inspect. Inspect means you want to know who is in front of you. First, you want to know yourself, okay? Why? Because your ID and the S tell you something, or the C tells you something doesn't work. Now you understand why you get upset. So it's important for you to know who you are. Then you go to connect to communicate. You see the abbreviation ICF? There's a reason why I put it this way. Then you connect to communicate. Now, how you connect and communicate with people you don't know. If you're in front of, let's say, investors, we have social media so open today. We have social media, we have internet, Google that person. Try to find as much as information as you can about that person. Why? Because now when you communicate with them, you know their style, you know what's their hobbies, you know what they care about. Here is a good thing to know about connect and communicate. Let's say your project can work with, let's say, the army, it's good for the environment, and it's good for teenagers. I don't know, I'm just making up stories. But the person in front of you, you already got it from social media or from the internet, Googling his name, he all about energy efficient. So your slides, one of the top slides that has to be about energy. Why? You just grab his attention. It's like, oh, okay, because this is something that's close to his heart. So that's how you continue, okay? The idea is, yes, have a slide, have your presentation ready, but you also have to have, I always, at the end of my presentation, I always have extra slide because I never know who's gonna be there. I may feel that there's someone that cares about something else, so I have a slide, a target for that person, okay? So identify the person in front of you and connect and communicate with them in their language, okay? The other one, follow the leader communication style. This is it. Whether you have a team that, even if it's under you, their team, their leaders, pay attention to what they tell you and how they say it to you. Don't try to lead with your own style, okay? Try to lead it somewhere in the middle. And if they don't understand you, you can say, hey, Danny, I know you care about the result, but right now it's D. We have a presentation next week. We have this, we have that. What can we do right now? Because the C is afraid to let go. All right. So this is like inspect, connect, and follow. That's I want you to remember ICF, and that will help you right now because each one of them is a even just this slide is a workshop by itself. So let's continue to the end. I know some of you may have a question. If you want to scan this QR code, I would love to hear from you more. I know we are at the top of the hours, but please feel free to call me. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If there are more questions from today about yourself, about your team, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Feel free, call me about any issues that you may have. If you want, I have a book. Okay, first of all, if you register, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, there's a beautiful article that I wrote to an Israeli entrepreneurs magazine about this subject. You can read it on my LinkedIn. If you want to talk to me, I'm there. If you want a book, I have an ebook, beautiful ebook that I wrote about Talk is Not Cheap. Happy to give it to you as a gift. And I think that's about it. Ari, the bhutan is yours.
I know that we're over time, and I apologize. I personally have another meeting to go to. So I first of all want to thank Noa for sharing all this wonderful stuff and insight into this world of identify personas, how to talk to them, how to communicate with them. I think it's super important. Last thing, I want to thank again the Mirage Institute and the Mirage family for all the support that they give us. Good to see you guys and hope to see you again at the next Mirage Talk. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Noah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noah.
Bye. Bye,
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Ellie, stay here for just a minute.
Bye.
Bye, Ezra. Danny, too.
ביי. להתראות.